my fault. I'm not going to take responsibility for that. Anyway, this is being recorded, so hopefully we'll have it up for you. Like I said earlier on, if you have any questions, upper right-hand corner, there's a box there. You can type them in, and after I'm done, then I will do my best to answer any of the questions you have. So with that, let's get her going. So this is your Coach Online office, and up here you're going to, this is the very first thing you do, and I teach this to my new coaches like right after they sign up. So if their back office is showing, I take them immediately back there. If not, I do it as soon within that day sometime, as soon as possible. You're going to want to click on My Business, My Preferred Placement, and you want to show this to your new coaches right away, because if you don't and they start signing some people up, you can kind of mess some things up, as you'll see in this training. So when you click on that, you're going to be taking this page, and this is typically what you're going to see for a new coach. Is it says automatic placement. It's set there, and it's going to be on, I believe it's on the right leg in One Business Center, which obviously at that point they don't have One Business Center. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click here to set preferred placement, and you never ever want to take it off that again for the rest of your life as a Team Beachbody coach. You always want to be the one that's placing and where you want to direct your coaches. You're like a traffic cop, and you want to be able to place your coaches where you want them to be and not let the system do that for you, because as I'll show you, it'll mess things up. So you have 4 options here, and when you do this, you got the weak outside leg, first available, left leg, right leg, weak first available, and that can be really confusing, especially if you're a brand new coach, and even if you're maybe a coach that's been in the business for a little while. I'm going to tell you to make it real simple. You do one of 2 things. You pick left or right, and that's it. We never ever look to weak outside leg first available or weak leg first available. I'll explain what they are when we get into the training part of it, so that you understand what they are and the reason why they're there. However, I'm going to tell you that as a leader of your business, you always want to pick left or right, so that you can be kind of building what's called a power leg in each one of your legs. So you're either going to pick left leg or right leg. It's really up to you, and you're going to click, if you're just starting, it's in that right leg, so it's already set there. When you sign up your first coach, so here's my little training tool here, and this is your business, so this is my little pool of coaches here. PSC means personally sponsored coach. These are just some other coaches and stuff that I'll be explaining. This is you and your business right here. And when you go to sign up a coach, your first coach, you're going to sign up a personally sponsored coach. So in my case, I signed up my wife and placed her, Angie, in the left leg. Now, that would mean that this preferred placement would have been, oops, wrong one. Preferred placement would have been set to left. So that's where Angie landed, because we put her in the left leg first. I then go sign her up into the business, and now I have my first coach in my left leg. I want to get to Emerald, and if you understand the compensation program, which hopefully you have gone through that if you've been through our trainings, then you want to go and you want to sponsor a coach to your right leg, personally sponsor a coach in your right leg, and that means that you need to move. Before you sign up that coach, you need to move, in this case, over to the right leg, click Save. Now, when I personally sponsor my next coach, or in your case, your next coach, that coach is going to go over here in the right leg, and now this person here is an Emerald coach. You actually have to do a few other things as part of the compensation program, but this is the structure of an Emerald coach. And essentially, would take away my wife, and you just have to have 2 personally sponsored coaches in your business. That's an Emerald coach, and you have to do, like I said, a couple other things, and you make sure you change that placement thing back. Now, in the event that you mess that up, and let's say that you sponsor your first coach here in your left leg, let's say you didn't change that pointer, and you go sign up your second coach, and let's say your second coach lands in your left leg, and you're going, oh, darn it, I didn't want to do that. You have 5 business days now. It used to be 3. You now have 5 business days where you can contact Coach Relations And you can say, hey, I just took this coach, and you want to give them the coach ID, you want to tell them what leg they're in, what wrong leg they're in. Like say, I got coach, 56, whatever number. I place them underneath this coach here. I want to move them over to my right leg and put them directly under this coach, because you might have coaches in there already. So you want to make sure that you do that. Now, as you know, we got the structures. For getting into the business, I'm not going to get into the structure of everything. You should know that through the compensation program, about what you need to do to get to Ruby, and what you need to do to get to Diamond. I will show you something for the Diamond. Let's say you've got, as you know, as a Diamond, you got to have 4 personally sponsored coaches in your left leg and 4 personally sponsored coaches in your right leg. So I'm going to build that out for you. I just want to make sure, because in the compensation plan, sometimes it'll show that, and you have to help any 2 coaches to get their first 2 coaches and personally sponsor them. So that means they would have to personally sponsor. You have to find 1 coach in your left leg and 1 coach in your right leg that they personally sponsor a coach. And so now you got 4 personally sponsored, 1, 2, 3, 4 in your left leg, 1, 2, 3, 4 in your right leg. Each one of them has 2 legs, and now you've helped any one coach in your left leg and any 1 coach in your right leg to get their first 2 personally sponsored coaches. In this case, we've shown the 2 last one. Now it could be this coach here, move that down a little bit, is actually the one that's personally sponsored a coach. And so it could be any one of your 4 here that personally sponsors 2 coaches in the proper legs, so they become emeralds. And so you got basically 4 personally sponsored in the left, 4 personally sponsored in the right, and any 1 coach in each leg you help get to emerald, meaning they each sponsor 1 coach. The coach on the left sponsors personally sponsors 2 coaches, and the coach on the right personally sponsors 2 coaches. And then you will be a diamond. And so that's a fairly easy structure to do. That's what's great about this compensation program. You can really get to diamond if you really put yourself to it. We've had people do this in as fast as 2 weeks. Some people put such a big deal sometimes on making diamond that they sometimes it can be a little bit confusing for them, and they think, boy, it's a lot to make diamond. And it really doesn't. It shouldn't take that long if you're really serious about building your business. Now, you can do it as long as you want. Anyway, but let me put this back here. My little drawing board here I created, my little whiteboard. Okay, so now I'm going to get into some of the cool stuff that you can do. So as you know, as you came in the business, let me put this back here. So as you came into the business, you have a coach that sponsored you into the business. And that would be your sponsor. So your sponsor is right here above you. And your sponsor has 2 legs. They got a left leg and a right leg. And in this case right now, they sponsored you into the business. And there you are. And they have 2 legs to build. Now, they're going to sponsor coaches in their left and right leg. So they're going to sponsor, they're going to start building out their business. And now if they did that, your sponsor, if they got you personally sponsored and they put a coach in the right leg, now that your sponsor just became an emerald. Now here's the cool thing about binaries that I love, and that you will love even more as I really draw this out for you. So let's say this is you and you're just getting started, but you got a really good sponsor. Now this is called spillover. I'm going to share with you. This is something called spillover. It's not guaranteed. It's something that can happen. It's a benefit if it does, but it's not something that you're guaranteed. We didn't get much of it in our business, and don't to this day, but that's not that big of a deal. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that this is something I'm going to show you that's a nice little perk if you get it. If you don't, then it's no big deal. But so let's say your coach above you, that's your sponsor there in red, they basically decide, okay, I'm building out my organization. They're a coach. They want to really build into the diamond, so they want to get their 4 personally sponsored in the left leg. So let's say they go out and they sponsor another coach, and they go, well, I want to put this coach in my left leg. Well, that coach is going to go directly, in this scenario, directly underneath you. Okay? So what's the benefit of that? So you didn't do anything yet. You're still just a coach, and you're doing your, let's say you're doing your 90 PV. You got to do 50 to be active. You're doing 90 because we're going to assume everybody's doing 90 PV because they're on Shakeology Home Direct in in this training. So your coach now goes out and he or she sponsors a new coach, puts them in his or her left leg, and automatically the system's going to place, if this coach put first, put either left or right leg, so in this case your coach put left leg on that placement thing in their back office, that coach is going to land right here underneath you. The benefits to that is if this coach now starts building his or her business as they start retailing or whatever. Let's say they go out and they sell a Shakeology, 90 PV. Well, you're going to get that 90 PV is going to be added to your team cycle bonuses. And here again, that's part of the compensation program that I'm not going to be getting into tonight. You need to understand the compensation. I just want to help you guys understand the importance of some of the placements and stuff like that. So your coach went out and placed somebody in your left leg. And let's say you start building your business and you personally sponsor a coach and you go, wow, there's somebody in my left leg. I want to put somebody in my right leg. And you personally sponsor a coach and you put him in your left leg. So my question to you right now, seeing the structure that there's a coach in your left leg and you've personally sponsored one coach in your right leg, are you an Emerald coach now because you have that structure? And the answer is no, you're not, because you have to personally sponsor a coach to both legs. They can't be placed into your business for you. It's a benefit if they do, because if this coach starts doing some work, then all that volume that that coach produces every week, month, day, whatever, rolls up to you and rolls up to your coach. So for you to become an active Emerald in this situation, you have to go out. Let's say your coach went out and he or she sponsors somebody in the right leg. Then they go, I'm with another one on my left leg. Now they move their pointer back to the left leg, and they personally sponsor a coach over here. And now you got two coaches in your organization. You've only placed one in there, but you want to get to that Emerald position because that still doesn't count. Their volume will count, but so you go out, you personally sponsor a coach, and bam. Now, even though your coach is placed but down in this part of your organization, the nice thing about this compensation program, you're paid to infinity. So we have coaches that we personally sponsor that are hundreds and hundreds of levels. We've been doing this since 2007. So basically, when we personally sponsor a coach in either our left leg, my right leg, there might be several hundred coaches down below me or even more. Depends on what leg we place them in. So in this case, you signed up your next coach, your second coach, so now you've become an Emerald coach because you got your one coach that you personally sponsored in your left leg, and you got your coach you personally sponsored in your right leg. Now you're an Emerald coach. Now here's what's interesting about this compensation program, like I said. This is what's the benefit as you start building this out. So I'm going to kind of, build this thing out a little bit. So let's say this coach here, they go, okay, I'm going to start my business, and they pop a coach into here, and then they go, this coach here goes, okay, I'm going to sign up my second coach, so they go Emerald, and they got their pointer pointing to that left leg, and this is how we build out a power leg, and boom, now you got another, coach in your left leg, but you got two coaches here, so you're building this organization out. Now let's say your personally sponsored coach here goes out, and they sponsor a coach in their left leg because you taught them correctly, you got them to this training, and they personally sponsored a coach, placed them in their left leg with the pointer. They went back and put their pointer to the right, and boom, now they placed their coach in there, and now now they're an Emerald with this coach here and that coach here. But what's happening here is you've got a structure starting to build out. Now this right leg can be building here. Excuse me. It doesn't matter what your sponsor does up here in the right leg because it's not going to benefit you at all, but as they continue to build out, so let's say your sponsor goes up, I'm going to place another coach, and I got his or her pointers pointed to the left leg, boom, they place another coach in there. You go, boy, I better get moving, and you go and you start placing a coach down over here, but then you go to equalize the compensation program, you sponsor a coach and put him in your left leg, and you're starting to build out the structure. Now, here's what's the benefit of this. Just in this little structure of, 10, 12 coaches or so. So you personally sponsored this coach just now, let's say. They go out and they buy Shakeology, they buy a challenge pack, whatever it is. Let's say they buy Shakeology. Like I said, we're going to kind of just keep it simple, and they do their 90 PV. Now, in the team cycle bonuses, so when they make that purchase, Here again, you got to watch the compensation program, but when they make that purchase of 90 PV in that Shakeology, or it gets automatically shipped every month, 90 PV gets placed into this coach's business and their left leg, or yeah, their left leg. 90 PV gets posted in this coach's business. 90 PV gets posted in this coach's business. 90 PV gets added to this coach's business. 90 PV, 90 PV, 90 PV, 90 PV. And frankly, if there's a coach above your sponsor up here, that coach gets 90 PV and so on, and literally that can go down hundreds or thousands of levels, and all those coaches are going to get that 90 PV added, and then they can get paid on that 90 PV. So you're probably thinking, well, how can one person buy 90 PV worth of, like a Shakeology here, and pay or put points into all these, potentially hundreds of coaches' businesses? And that's just because there's what they call breakage in the compensation program. So they know not every coach is going to qualify every month, and blah, 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 and volume. There's a volume flushing thing that I'm not going to get into. That's here again gets into the compensation program. So you got this little structure here. Now, the nice thing is the way I'm showing this to you is you've taught your people to build by putting people in either their left leg or their right leg. In this case, when your sponsor's building, he's placing him in, he or she's placing him in his left leg, so they're falling underneath you. And as you can see, that can create what's called like a quote-unquote power leg. And if you teach everybody to build only doing what we talked about here, meaning left leg and right leg only, that's the only two things that's the only two things you ever teach your people to do, then you're going to start having the structure. Now, like I said, of course, they got two legs, so they're going to start filtering out and building down into here and fill out these inside legs. Now, for simplicity purposes, I'm going to put these ones back, and I'm going to show you what happens, because you're probably going, well, what happens when somebody gets placed in? So here's one of the, let's say, first leg, weak leg, weak outside leg. So let's say somebody, put that as their choice, so weak outside leg. So what's going to happen is, if you pick that, this is your weak outside leg. Now, in this case, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's going to place that coach for you as you sponsor. Let's say this is the structure. So this is your structure right now, and you placed weak outside leg. Well, this is your strong leg because you got the most number of personally sponsored coaches, you got the most number of coaches in your organization. If you choose weak outside leg, this is your weak outside leg. The system, when you go and personally sponsor your next coach, they're going to go right here. And for reasons I'm going to talk about when you get into talking about families and friends and things like that, that system just placed that coach in your right leg because it's your weak outside leg. Well, maybe you wanted that coach down here for reasons I'll explain in a minute, but if that's why you want to always be in control. You want to be the one that's making the decision on where your new coaches go. You can't control these coaches, especially if they're from your upline. That's just the benefit. If they place a coach, they're not going to probably ever place, like your coach here will probably never place a coach down here for you. They just, 99% of the time, they're just not going to do that. So let's say this is your structure again, and you put first available. And the system's now going to go, okay, so you sign up a new coach, and let's say this is your structure. And somebody sponsored a coach, your personally sponsored coach sponsored a coach, and you go first available. Hold on a sec. So you got this sitting here on first available, and it's just going to now, it's going to basically go, what's the first available spot? Well, these two, it's going to go for the highest spot in your organization, and it's either going to automatically, it's going to probably place the coach. Starting to lose my voice. It's going to place your personally sponsored new coach right here, probably. Here again, now you've got, what you've done is you've placed a coach underneath an inside leg, you got rid of that. Instead of benefiting your leg over here or this leg over here, you did that option, you pick that, the system's now placed that coach in your inside leg, and now essentially what you've done is you've committed to sponsoring 2 more legs or helping 2 more legs. Because instead of placing that coach over here, because you were controlling either right or left, where now it benefited this coach and it benefited this coach, it only benefited this coach, and you. Instead of building, again, that right leg where you're bringing in people and they're going down the right leg and the left leg like you got here, and new coaches are going in, you know, maybe this coach sponsored one or this one, they put him in that right leg. So you're building what's called kind of like 2 power legs, essentially. You don't want to do this and have the system pick and start building out, and then if they continue to do things like that, the system might drop one down into here instead of over here again, and you start building this big mess. And it happened early on with a lot of coaches when we first started because there wasn't a lot of training on this, and you could end up with a structure that's, you know, I'll show just a, you know, quick example, and then the system's going to place one, and so now you got a coach on here, and then you got a coach on an inside leg here, but then this coach sponsored one, so the system placed your next coach over here, or maybe over here, and then you can see that there's kind of this mess here because this leg has got your personally sponsored coaches, and you go, oh my God, what do I do? I can't build, I'm not building this power leg, where when you're building a leg like this, and let's say you go out and you sign up a new coach again, and think about this, you place them in a power leg like this, it's going to go down into here. You can call these coaches up. Maybe you got a lazy coach here. Maybe you got one of these coaches here isn't real lazy, or is kind of lazy, and maybe they don't even know that they got this leg building out underneath them, and you can sit there and go, you know, hey, Bob, I just want to let you know, I just placed another coach in your organization. You know, that's 3 I've placed in your organization right now. I mean, you might want to get going and start building your business over here. And that's what can happen is, like, if you're a strong builder or your upline's a strong builder and everybody's working initially on this leg here, then they're going to start seeing, wow, I got coaches come in and this is amazing. And so that's what this business will start, you'll start to build out like this, and you start to build these power legs, and people go, man, I'm with a great sponsor, he's, you know, putting people in my left leg, and, you know, chances are you're not going to ever do this and personally sponsor somebody and put them into here consciously, because then you've now committed to building and helping coach to build, you know, potentially you go, hey, I hope you're not placing anybody in my organization. So there can be mistakes, might be in one of those legs, and that's just the way it is. Like I said, this is, if somebody's watching training like this and they're building out these power legs where you got a strong leg like this versus, you know, just kind of all over the place, and you got personally sponsored coaches, you know, going crazy. Because here, again, this coach does 90 PV, now this coach gets 90, this coach gets 90 out of their team cycle. Every single one of these coaches up here gets 90 PV added to their team cycle bonuses, because you're building this strength in this thing, and then it creates momentum, it creates excitement, and then you get an organization that's going in here again. Literally, you can call your coaches up. Maybe they're a little bit, you know, not doing everything. Every time you sponsor a new coach, you can go, hey, just put another coach in your business, and they're going to go, oh my God, this is crazy. You know, I better get to work. I better build out my other leg, because you can tell them, you know, you're leaving money on the table here potentially, because you got, if these coaches are producing volume, or let's say one of these coaches starts taking off and they start building out their organization, and, you know, now you got, you know, this is how it can happen. This is the benefit of binaries, because you have all these coaches that are supporting and helping other coaches. And so as you start to build this out, it becomes really fun, especially early on, well, and later on too, because I'll show you some insane numbers that are happening with us right now, that as you kind of build this out. So real quickly again, as we get into getting close to finishing this, if you got any questions, please type them in the upper right-hand corner there, and I'll do my best to answer. Excuse me, I'll answer your questions if I have any voice left over. Now, there's no guarantee of spillover. I want to make sure that that's perfectly understood. That's just a benefit that if you have a coach that's doing that above you, or if you're a coach and you're doing that for your coaches in your organization, you know, as you should be, if you're building strong, then that's something you should be doing, and helping your team to help build out those quote-unquote power legs. So I'm going to go now, and I'm going to put all the stuff back. And also understand too, and this has happened to us, you never know volume-wise, you never know what leg's going to take off. As I put this stuff back, you really never know what leg is going to take off. It's the darndest thing. I mean, you're going to get coaches, they say those who say they will won't, those who say they won't will. You never know what leg is going to take off. We placed Angie in our left leg when we first started the business, and that just happened to be the leg that took off. But I can tell you right now that, we started this in 2007, and this is what can happen to you as of tonight. We're 5 coaches short of 44,000 in our organization, and in the last 7 days, 933 coaches came into our organization. That's not to brag. It's to say that this is what can happen when you build one of these things and you start to get people excited, and you're a good coach, you can become a strong leader, you develop leadership skills, you can start to have that kind of success. And it takes a little bit of time, but what if it takes you 3 or 4 years to get those kind of numbers, because that produces for us over, $1 million a week in volume, and that can happen to you. We're no special than anybody else, except we've stuck with this for 7 to 8 years now. So that's what's important. And again, with those 2 legs, you get paid to infinity on those legs, meaning if you sponsor a coach, or the coach above you sponsors a coach, and they're 1,000 legs down or levels down below you, and they put that new coach, and that new coach does 90 PV, then all 1,000 coaches in that lineage are going to get 90 PV placed into their business. Again, I'm going to show you a couple more things, and then if you got any questions, type them into the questions thing, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So this next part is really, really important. This is getting into the importance of your family and your friends and structuring it. And this is things that can really cause some problems if you don't properly do this. So let's say you have a mom. I'm assuming all of you do. It's impossible if you didn't. And let's say that you sponsor your mom and you place your mom. And this could be your best friend, this can be a cousin and an uncle, but we're going to go with your mom, so you can put whatever scenario you want on this. And let's say you personally sponsor your mom and you place your mom in your left leg. Now, the thing you want to be really aware of is you never ever want to take anybody, if possible, if your mom knows the same people you do, or that your brother knows, or that your cousin knows, or your coworker knows, or something like that, you don't ever want to put them in different legs. So here's an example. Let's say I want to get to Emerald, so you sign up your mom in your left leg, and let's say you have a son, and you put your son in the right leg. Now you just made Emerald coach, but you just created a big headache for yourself, and here's why. So guess what? Your mom and your son probably know some of the same people. You probably know some of the same people that your mom and your son knows. I can guarantee you do. So let's say that your mom and you and your son all know Sue. So all 3 of you are thinking, boy, Sue's a go-getter. She's head of this club YMCA. She's a fitness trainer. She's part of the speaking group. She's done network marketing in the past. And all 3 of you are going, boy, I want to get Sue. Excuse me. So all of you want to get Sue. So what happens is, let's say you get Sue and you personally sponsor her. Where are you going to place Sue now? Well, if you place Sue over here with your mom, now your son's going to go, gee, Dad, why did you place Sue with Mom? Don't you like me? And maybe your son was really close to sponsoring Sue or something, or maybe your mom did. So now what have you done? You kind of maybe upset your son because he was hoping to get the potential rock star Sue. Now he's not going to get him, and now your mom's happy, of course. But what if you'd done this and you'd sponsored the proper thing, because these people all know each other, and you sponsored your son underneath your mom, and then you went out and you sponsored Sue, and you placed Sue underneath your son. Now your son benefits from Sue, your mom benefits, and you benefit. So that's one thing to think about when you're thinking about family and friends. Same thing, let's say your son, your mom, I mean, you, again, know Sue, but let's say your son sponsored Sue. He got to Sue first for whatever reason than your mom. He goes over and signs up Sue, places Sue, and, you know, it could be this leg or that leg, it doesn't really matter. You benefit from Sue being sponsored by your son and all the volume she does, but now your mom's going, oh, man, you know, my son got, you know, my grandson got Sue, and now I can't, you know, I'm not getting anything to her, and I was going to get, she was going to be somebody sponsored. Here again, you know, if your son was over here, and then your son sponsored Sue and placed Sue here or Sue here, really doesn't matter. Now, again, your son and your mom all benefited from Sue being placed in that same leg. So that's why it's really important to do that, so that you keep all your family and friends and everybody together. And it's the same thing, you know, let's say, you know, build this thing out, and this happens, trust me, this happens all the time. You got your son over here, and he got Sue, but, you know, they all know Jim, but your mom grabs Jim. You know, you're winning here all the time. It doesn't matter. You know, you're winning with your sponsoring, but now your son's upset, Sue's upset because Jim was, you know, one of her best friends or something like that, but your mom knew him. And so you can kind of see the mess here, that if you start getting friends, coworkers, and things like that, you want to keep them all in the lineage. So here again, you know, it doesn't matter if your son or who knows who or who got who, whatever. You want to teach this so that, you know, this could be the lineage here, how it goes. It doesn't matter if you're, I'll put them out here. So it doesn't matter if you knew Jim, but you place him underneath here. Sue benefits every time he purchases something. Your son does, your mom does, you do. Let's say your mom sponsored Jim. Doesn't matter because she placed him in that left leg. Now your son benefits, Sue benefits, and everybody's happy. If you had sponsored Jim, brought him over here, now your mom's pissed, your son's pissed, and Sue's pissed because Jim's a rock star that everybody knows each other, and they're going, Dad, why did you sponsor Jim over there? You know, we're all family here. You should have put Jim over here. So really important to show and keep everybody together, their friends, family, coworkers, if at all possible. Sometimes it's just not possible. Okay, so I'm going to get one last strategy here. Here again, if you have any questions, put them up in that upper right-hand corner. I'll do my best to answer them. I got one more scenario to show you. So you're a new coach. Get rid of the sponsor because it's not that important for what I'm going to share with you. So you're a new coach, and if you have a spouse, I'm going to share with you what we did. I'm going to share you the importance and the benefits of doing this. And so going back to when I first talked about, I sponsored Angie in the business. And we were a team since day one, so we just, you know, we said, hey, Blake goes on the first business center. Angie went into that second business center. So now I personally sponsored Angie and placed her in the left leg. Again, you never know what leg is going to do what leg is going to go crazy or whatever. And so what happens is we got the first business center to Emerald. So I personally sponsored another coach. I got myself to Emerald, and now I was getting customers. Back in the day there, all we had to do is personally sponsor 2 people and then do a couple things, you know, a profile and some things, and then have active 50 PV, and then we could start collecting the customers from the company. Now you have to be Success Club 5 and stuff like that and 10, which you can still do. So anyway, so the benefit was we got me to Emerald right away, and then we got Angie to Emerald right away. So she sponsored her 2 coaches, and excuse me. Weird, losing my voice. I'm gonna put one of these down here. So we got Angie to Emerald. And now Angie became Emerald. I'm Emerald. She's Emerald. What does that do for us? We double dipped in the customers. So now we got twice as many customers from the company, which gave us twice as many potential points, twice as many potential new coaches that we could sponsor down the road. So as of today, I mean, actually, I don't know what it is today, but instead of having like 8,000 coaches or customers, we now have 16,000 customers between the 2 of us. Instead of like, so if we had just if I had not sponsored Angie into the business, I would have been getting one set of customers because we sponsored Angie in the business, got her to Emerald right away. Now she's double dipping, or I'm getting customers, she's getting customers, and 8 years later, we're now getting double the customers. Like I said, I think between the two of us, we now have like around 16,000 customers instead of each having 8,000, or instead of only me having 8,000 customers. Now, here's the other thing that happens when you do this. So the next thing we did, and is we went back and we got Me to Diamond. That allowed me, the top business center, because me is us, obviously, we live together and, our finances are together. So I personally sponsored 4 coaches on my right leg. I personally sponsored 4 coaches on my left leg, like this. I helped these 2 guys over here. I became a Diamond coach. And now I started collecting $18 team cycle bonuses. Now here's the magic of what's happening though. So then we eventually got Angie to Diamond, but for the majority of the strategies, we started building out this structure here. And this is kind of, what happened. The business started building out, coaches were coming in, and the structure happened, and I'd sponsor another one, and oops, I almost did the wrong thing. And, more coaches coming in, and here's what happened now. And watch what's happening as you see what's building out here that we're doing for us as a family and we're doing for our business and our future is we started building out this organization. Guess what's happening here is I'm building, and we're building together as a team. We built the Top Business Center. We spent about 1.5 years focusing only on this Top Business Center. This leg happened to be the one that took off. This one was responsible now for, we're lopsided like a lot of you are, and it's probably responsible for 70% of our business. This one's responsible for like 30% of our business. But look at what happened here. So 1.5 years later, this business underneath Angie had this one leg. She had built out, we eventually got her to Diamond like I told you, but this one leg underneath her with all these coaches was doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in volume before we decided to start building it. So as we built out this Top Business Center, we were building out an entire business underneath Angie, one leg anyway. Didn't, like I said, short of getting her to Diamond, we didn't do anything other than get that leg, the 4 it needed, and kept her at Diamond eventually so she could cycle at $18. And so we built out over the years, or the 1.5 years or so, and this leg literally, when we said, okay, let's come up here now and let's start building Angie's business, because of all the work we did with that Top Business Center, she had hundreds of thousands of dollars in that leg 1.5 years later, just sitting there because we kept her active, and so it just kept on banking volume, banking volume, banking volume. So now fast forward 8 years, she will never in 1,000,000 years catch that leg. That leg is gone. That leg goes, well, they're both very busy and active, but to give you an example that's absolutely insane, I went in there tonight, this leg underneath Angie, because that leg is so big now, has 7,620,919 PV underneath it. So all she does now, or we do with this business, is we keep a minimum number that we need to do to keep her growing from 1 star to 2 star, but we spend the majority of the time really only having to build this one leg. So because of the work we did with this Top Business Center and putting all that volume down underneath her, that's her quote unquote way huge power leg. The majority of work we only have to really build out one more leg, short of, like I said, per the compensation program, sponsoring, personally sponsoring, and coaches in this other leg, and breaking diamonds with some of them to get her to rank advanced, because she's a 2-star diamond now. So we have to have 1-star diamond over here and a 1-star diamond in this leg. But the benefit of getting your spouse again is twofold: is you can get the double dip on the customers once you qualify and get active to qualify for those customers. If you get her to Success Club and you to Success Club 5 every month, then you can double dip in those customers. And also, literally when you build out and you spend that time building out that Top Business Center, and then whenever you decide to go build out that second business, if you've been working the business, then you've got this other leg that in our case went absolutely crazy. And again, you never know what leg is going to do it or when, and we just, if you want to call it luck, that's what happened, and that leg took off, and the rest is history. And so anyway, so that's kind of the preferred placement training. I apologize, we did start late tonight, but if you do have questions, I'll pull this up now and see if we have any, and I'll answer them. I can see them. Okay, we've got a couple questions. So I'm going to, for those of you that don't want to stay for that, the training is officially done. I recorded this. I'll do my best to get it posted here tonight or tomorrow. If you do have any questions, then I'll answer them right now. If not, you can go, if you're done, then you can go ahead and hop off. There's about 3 questions so far. If you do have them, I'm in the upper right-hand corner. You can ask your question about preferred placement. That's all I'm focusing on tonight. Now, the first question is from Ashley, and she's asking, what is 90 PV? And that gets into the compensation program, so you need to get in our Go Emerald training and learn that, or you can go into your Coach Online office and you can read your compensation program. PV is personal volume. Change that. PV stands for personal volume. That's, here again, that's, when volume gets placed underneath your organization, when people buy product, there's a point value tied to it. Shakeology, it's $129 and change, $130, and it carries 90 PV. So every time somebody buys Shakeology or anything underneath you, for the most part, it carries some kind of personal volume, and that is then tied into team cycle volume, and there again, you're going to have to get into a compensation program training to fully understand that. Next question is, do the coaches that you refer to as lazy coaches, do they get a paycheck automatically, or do they have to work the business in order to see pay? My top right leg does not coach, but has a load of my coaches under her, so wonder if she gets a paycheck. She only gets a paycheck based on the compensation program, so you can place, and let's say, using this structure here, let's say this is, get rid of Angie, so let's say this is you, and this is your coach you're talking about right here, and she's not doing anything. So let's say she only sponsored one coach, she put him in this leg. She does not, because she's not even an active Emerald coach right here, you can, let's say you and the rest of these coaches is built out, this is for Rebecca, this is your personally sponsored coach, and she's not doing anything. She maybe sponsored coach here, let's say she didn't sponsor anybody, she's just sitting here, and she's just buying Shakeology or something every month, or not. She's just paying her business services fee. And there's this huge structure going on underneath there. She, based on the compensation program, she will not get paid anything, not a dime, because she's not an active Emerald coach. Now let's say this is your personally sponsored coach, and she sponsors a coach here, and let's say that this coach goes crazy and starts sponsoring coaches, and so this leg starts building out underneath that coach of yours, starts going crazy, and let's say her personally sponsored coach here goes inactive and doesn't do it, so she's only got that, so now she's not even an Emerald anymore. She's still not going to get paid now. So you have to go look at the compensation program. Just because you place coaches underneath a coach, that's only a benefit if they're actually actively building the business per the Team Beachbody compensation program. So hopefully that answered that question for you. Next question, if you were working your spouse's business as well and got them to Emerald, when do you start adding more coaches on them and not so much so you build double dip for the leads? I'm not quite understanding that. If you're working your spouse's business as well as got them to Emerald, when you start adding more coaches on them, and not so much so we can double dip the leads. That's, I guess, what you're asking, Rebecca, is when do you start building your other business? And so to me, like I said, our personal thing was we got, we built the first business for a year and a half. Maybe you answered that question or asked that question while I was talking before I spoke. So we spent majority of time building that top business center, getting it to Emerald, because that's, that takes time. I mean, it's, a diamond's fairly easy, but making 2 of them, in the family takes twice as much work. So we know, and we got this making the $18. So we spent the majority of that first year and a half or so building out that business, the left leg and the right leg, and then just that happened to build out Angie's leg. And then, like I said, that was just our thing. I go, hey, Top Business Center is making some good money. It was, I forget how many Star Diamond. I said, let's go start making you some money, or the Second Business Center some money, and get some coaches building that so she could rank advance and get some recognition and stuff like that. So hopefully that was the question that you were looking for, Rebecca. Let's see, if you messed this up a while ago, Darren, if you messed this up a while ago, should you just start with the left-right strategy now? Absolutely, Darren. So let's say you did start filtering in coaches in here. Let's say you got, I don't know, you got a personally sponsored coach there. Some inside, weird leg somewhere. Let's say they're even there. So now they're on an inside leg of Angie here, but then they're on an inside leg of that coach. And let's say they're down here. If that's an active coach that's building, it's going to take you twice as much work. But I would still, if you're actively building, you want to correct it and still recreate that power leg here. But let's say, let me add one more. Let's say, the system threw another one in here. Put him here, whatever. So that coach is now, you got a coach here on another inside weird leg, and this one's on this side weird leg, and now you got two coaches. Well, let's say this coach really isn't doing much, then I'd tell you no, don't worry about it. Let's say this coach is rocking it, and they're going, hey, I'm looking for some help, or they're working with you, they're calling you, then you can commit to saying, okay, well, I'll help you, because if that coach isn't doing anything, this coach is, then you may want to spend some time if you got the wherewithal to build 3 legs or so. You don't want to build out both legs, but you can pick a leg and go, okay, I'll place a few coaches underneath you. Now you're kind of committing to, building, get rid of that one. Oops. Now you're kind of committing to, let's say, build out this leg and put some personally sponsored coaches there, like this or something, and building another kind of a power leg there, Darren, if that makes sense. If this coach is kind of worthy in that they're building and you think, it'll help them if you do that. Like I said, again, that's a benefit. It's a perk. It's not a guarantee. There's no guarantee that you're going to be in any kind of a quote-unquote power leg. Coaches get sponsored all the time and get put in legs, and then they don't, the coach they brought in, they're in some leg down here and get sponsored, and this coach quits, never does anything. And so we have coaches on our team that are, Star Diamond coaches. If you look at one of the more popular coaches in our company, Lindsay Matway. If you guys know anything about our company, she's pretty big in the company. She's top coach, elite coach. She's a coach that's on an inside leg somewhere in a group I know of, with another coach, and she just happened to be randomly placed, but she took it upon herself to build her own business. And a lot of coaches do that. We don't get spillover at all anymore from our coach upline. You're going to find that's just kind of more the norm. The benefit is, if you're a strong coach, you can kind of use that to your advantage. When I talked about earlier on in the training, that you can be talking to them, you can be communicating with your downline, saying, hey, just place another coaching organization. Hey, just place another coaching organization, and get them kind of rocking and going, and excited and motivated and stuff like that. So that's worth doing. The other thing you can do now, let's say you got a rock star, because volume counts too, and this is more of an advanced type, really advanced thing. And let's say you're really looking, you got this leg. Let's say this leg's just crushing it, doing $1 gazillion, and you got this leg here and it's struggling or whatever it's doing. And let's say that maybe none of these coaches, this actually happened. This leg was our power leg, and we built out right side all on that whole leg, and it went really well for several years. And then bam, all of a sudden, somewhere down in here, this almost started to die. It's still going, but it's really slow now, and the leg underneath here took off. And so now we sometimes will go, we'll find a coach that's doing something, and we might sponsor a coach underneath them or something like that, and then then commit to building underneath this leg. Here again, that's more of an advanced strategy. It's something that you'll kind of figure out as you build out your business, if that's something that you want to do or not. But there again, that's more of an advanced strategy, that as you start to understand this a little bit more, hopefully I helped add some clarity for you, not confusion. I don't have any more questions. It doesn't look like I got thank you from Rebecca. She has no personally sponsored coaches. So yeah, so Rebecca, your coach that does not have any personally sponsored coaches, you can build $1 million in both legs for her, and she won't make a dime of it. So until she gets to Emerald and then, starts building it. But that's somebody you can call and let her know. They go, you got X amount of, you can find out, because if she's one of your personally sponsored coaches, you can call her up and say, you got, X amount of volume going up your business. You might want to start doing that or building that business. You can also use it as, if she's just completely quit, you may get a coach that wants to come in, and if she's a personally sponsored coach of yours, you may get a coach that comes in, and you might want to say, hey, you want to get rid of your position? I got somebody that will take that from you, and then you could take a new coach and put them into a position that's got some volume in it already. So that's something, again, that's a little bit more of an advanced strategy that you can do down the road, where you can find out coaches that have volume underneath them, but they're just completely not doing anything. Maybe they forgot they're paying their 15 or the business services fee, and they got a leg going or two legs or something, and they're just not interested in doing it. You go, hey, do you mind transferring out of your business? I'd like to put somebody in there, and then you can put a builder in there or something that's got some volume underneath them, and then maybe they're going to be a little bit more committed to doing something. So anyway, that's no more questions, it looks like. So maybe I did a good job. Hopefully that helped you guys out. Like I said, this is recorded, so assuming everything goes okay with the technology into this thing, then I'll get that up here tonight or tomorrow. So with that, we're almost on an hour. We'll probably 40 minutes, 50 minutes, because we started late. I appreciate you guys getting on the call tonight, the training tonight. So hope it helped, and we'll look forward to seeing you in our next training, and I'll post this up on the Team Fit Revolution training page as soon as we get a chance to get it done, or as soon as I get it done, and hopefully everything goes good with YouTube. And you're welcome, for those of you that said thank you. So have a great night, and we'll look forward to seeing you on Team Fit Revolution page and training next Thursday. All right, make it a great evening.